it's hard to know how to reach those people. Like, what's my relationship to those people? What is there that I can do that might help them, you know? And I was thinking, here's a fun one, right? You know, there was a guy. I've been quite affected by suicide all my life. You know, about 8 very close suicides have really affected me. And there was a guy, a lovely neighbour, used to live beside us out where we live, maybe 10 years ago. Now, he would have been a teenager when he lived out there, you know. We wouldn't have seen him in maybe a decade. And I was away actually for a weekend, and this kind of slightly troubled soul was knocking on the door of my wife and my 2 girls. And it was late at night and they were a little bit confused. And he was asking for Geoff because he knew me and was I still there. And they were a little bit shook by it, you know, and so he went off anyway. I mean, he didn't mean any harm, you know what I mean? It was just one of these things, and then we realised it was the guy that used to live beside us, and then he was showing up. I think the police were called, you know, the girls called the police actually, and he was like a gentle, you know, soft being, and the police didn't really know what was going on, and they actually brought him in, I think, to look after him more than anything, you know. And then he appeared the next day, the next morning, and nobody really knew what do we do with this neighbour who used to live here that's kind of come back home and feels a bit lost, and there was new people living in the house, of course. And then he took himself off to the M50 bridge and then threw himself over the bridge and died the second night, you know. I just come up that second night. And I remember thinking to myself, like, God, like, what a tragedy, you know, that somebody could get to a place where they're so lost that they feel like that's the best option. And then in that mix, there's nobody, there's nobody there to catch them, you know. Then I was thinking, there are some types of people, right, that I know, okay, who, if they were on the bridge at that moment and they saw my lovely neighbour, they would actually be the people for on the bridge. There's people who can actually be on the bridge and reach that person and catch them and talk them back and bring them back, you know. And I was just thinking about myself, you know. I was going like, I actually, I have to be honest, I'm not a bridge person. I'm not the person that catches someone that's at the bridge, you know, and so the work I'm doing is trying to meet people further upstream, so that my hope is that they never get to a place where they end up on the bridge. You know what I mean? And I think everyone is needed. We need bridge walkers. We need people on the bridge, absolutely. And I really admire the bridge walkers. But you know, everyone's different. It took me a while because I struggle. Like, it's deeply painful for me when people exit that way, you know, and that they would be in such a place of desolation. But and then the work I'm doing, then I'm kind of like, am I any use really? You know, with the work I'm doing, is it just some kind of like self-indulgent kind of like nice meditation retreat in the mountains? You know, I had to really confront this in myself. Like, should I just be rolling up my sleeves and walking around bridges every day, and, you know, looking for people that I can help? You know, and so, you know, I've really reflected on this, and I'm like, you know, actually, everyone's different, and everybody is kind of given a different sort of portfolio of skills to come into the world so that we can help each other, you know. And so my skill set is like an attempt to try and reach people, I suppose, like further upstream, so that you can begin to crack out of the unsatisfactory state of mind that most of us are born into, and so we can open to something, you know, more liberated, more free, or whatever. And then we yeah, and so, you know, I don't know why I'm starting with this, but it just felt important.
It's
You know what I
really
mean? It's
cool,
like,
and I'm
yeah,
going to leave all that in. And
yeah,
we're just going to start the podcast in a second, and I'm going to leave that in. I'm going to start. I love that analogy. I love
yeah,
that you have placed yourself in that position.
yeah,
That's where I like to be. I like to be upstream. And as you're talking, I'm thinking, I'm the guy on the bridge.
Are you?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A guy get a
I
call.
get that from you, Matt. I think you'd be good on the bridge.
I'm the good on the
Yeah,
bridge. I
yeah,
got a
yeah.
call from a lady a couple
Yeah.
of weeks ago and said, I've got an appointment in an oncology ward. Will you come with me?
Yeah, really?
And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'm with you. I'll go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And a staff member on the oncology ward said to me, come up and go, how are you? And I looked at him and I'm good, real good.
Yeah.
And she goes, even in here? And I went, especially in here.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Why is that? And I says, because this place needs peace and it definitely needs love. And I'm going to sit here as that. That's what I can do. Like with me dad, when he passed over, or like when I used to sneak into the hospital early in the morning or late at night, not to do anything other than to sit there on the bridge with him. Because he was going through some stuff and I could do that. Not try to fix him, not try to make it all go away, just to be there.
Yeah.
And let it be what it is. Because years ago I would have tried to fix it. All I was trying to do was to avoid the pain. Now I'm like, I'm all right. This is okay for me, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like to have a resilience or just an ability to just be there. You know, your presence alone can do so much for someone in a time of turmoil. You know what I mean? It's really yeah, it's interesting to me, you know, all the different ways we have of being in the world. I suppose, like, I have a deep desire, always have, to sort of help people, you know, meaning, like, what do I mean by help people? Like, just, you know, to try to, in some small way, contribute to helping people feel better. It's kind of that simple.
That's it.
You know what I mean? Wake up in the morning, if I could make a couple of people feel a little bit better, it could be a smile when I'm buying my milk in the shop. It could be, it doesn't have to be like some grand big breakthrough or something, you know, just to be nice, to be a friendly person, you know, in some way lift people's spirits. And wherever I end up in my day, you know, that would be part of why I'm here. I think it's the most important reason we're here, to be honest, you know. All the other stuff we have to do, like, it's kind of like
the bells and whistles.
Yeah, it's like distracting nearly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Isn't it? Oh yeah.
It's like we have to make a living, we have to make money, we have to, you know, pay our bills, we have to do, and then all too quickly it becomes like we innocently forget why we're here, we end up like thinking it's about, oh, I'll have to pay the bills and I have to get money and I have to, you know, be a success, and you know, and like all those things tend to take over, but like it's very empty for me if it's only that. I know it's important, I really do value our responsibilities and showing up for them, but like I don't think that's the primary reason we're here. I think the primary reason we're here is to kind of help each other grow into what we're capable of becoming. You know, that's really why we're here. You know, and it's sometimes the world feels a bit upside down to me. You know, that it's like, oh no, like, you know, we need a bigger car or like a bigger house or something. You know, it's like, really?
Yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, is that like, I mean, big houses and big cars are great. Like, I love all that stuff, but it's not going to do anything for you.
It's going to light us on fire.
Yeah.
Let's get started.
Yeah.
We've already started. Welcome to the Magic Minds podcast. You're listening and watching Delivery's #1 podcast, stories that have the power to inspire. And this, if you watch the last 5 or 10 minutes, it'll tell you this is going to be an inspiring story interview podcast. This is Geoff Fitzpatrick. Geoff is a sacred geometry teacher. He's also a background in psychology, holotropic breathwork. You do some advertising.
Yeah, I've got an advertising business. Yeah, digital screens.
He's got many string to his bows, and then he's a master of creating workshops around mandalas and the spiritual world meditation. So it's going to be a fascinating interview. We're friends of friends, and we're in a group together. And I've been told he's an incredible person to interview or to talk to, and we've done some chats at a couple of gatherings, and I've just really loved him. Like when I met you, I was like, I love this dude. I love your eyes. I love how your eyes open when you speak, and you speak from the heart, and it's just lovely. So I'm really delighted to have you here. Thanks for coming on.
Delighted to be here. Yeah. And likewise, it's been a pleasure meeting you as well. You know, you kind of meet someone, and for some reason, there's kind of like an instant like connection or a friendship. Or I likewise wanted to go, I like that guy. I want to know more about you. You know what I mean? I had that feeling too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So look, we started on a really lovely subject with suicide and bridge walkers and the essence of life, why we're here, why are we here,
What's it all about?
what's it all about, and how are we gonna do it? How do you do it? Like, what is your doing it then?
Yeah, like, I mean,
And why are we here?
to go back like to like my own little journey of growing up or whatever. You know, I was pretty conventional, like privileged child, had an idyllic childhood. You know, I couldn't, you know, where a lot of people I know have had challenging childhoods actually. It's important to point out that like, you know, I'm one of those lucky ones that had two great parents, had an unending waves of love every day of my life, never had anything traumatizing happen to me. So it was in that kind of like idyllic bubble that I did my growing, you know.
Yeah.
And I went to school. I mean, yeah, I had a few like even school I enjoyed. I enjoyed everything about this is like my first 10 years, my first 18 years of growing, you know. And and then I would have like listened to my parents, I would have listened to my teachers, I would have got sort of quite conventional social conditioning into being invited to become a certain type of person. And like all good advice, you couldn't fault. So do well in your exams, Geoff. You know, I was like, okay, you know, if that's what I'm told, I'll do that then.
Yes, sir.
Why, by the way? Like, why would I do well in your... Oh, because if you do well in your exams, you'll get to go to college. I was like, okay, cool. And that's a good thing, I reckon, is it? Well, it was good enough for me. So I did my exams. I did good in my exams. I went to a good college, you know. And then it was like, do good in college, Geoff. You know, you do good in college, because I was like, okay, so far so good. I'm having a great life. But I'm like, okay, so why do good in college? You know, why? Well, you'll get a really good job. Oh, okay, cool. That sounds like a fair deal. So I'll do good in college, then I'll get a good job. And why do I get a good job? Like, what's the point? Why do I want a good job? Oh, well, then you're going to have a happy life and everything will be perfect and you'll live happily ever after.
Oh.
And I'm like, why? Because I'll have a big house, I'll have a big car, you know, like maybe, like hopefully I'll have a wife and a family and then I'll be happy. Like this was the recipe for happiness that I was served, you know.
Yeah.
Which was beautiful. Like who could fault parents who guided you that way?
Yeah.
Teachers, everything in life. And I kind of just was like, I toed the line. I was like, okay, great, let's do it. So when I kind of obeyed the instructions, if you like, you know. But all the while when I was younger, I had a very, very deep spiritual side to me as well, you know, where I grew up in a Catholic school. I went to a Catholic school. I remember being very bored going to Mass, you know. And so I had an entrepreneurial side as well. So I was like, is there any way to make Mass less boring? And I was looking at all these altar boys on the altar, you know. And I said, yeah, I'd love to be up there carrying up all the little decruets and the wine and the water and the bread, ringing the bells. Yeah. You know, it looked like a good
What church did you go to?
Terranere College.
Okay.
It's where I was in school, you know.
Good.
So I became an altar boy, got majorly, intensely into like altar boying, you know, like, and it's kind of funny in a way, but like, it's only now looking back, I'm 50 now, looking back at these things, I didn't think this was significant at all, being an altar boy in a Catholic church, doing 3 masses every Sunday, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to sort of say it's a significant part of my journey, because I was just sitting there kind of bored, not really listening to the Gospels, you know, but every Sunday, hours and hours and hours in this church, you know, and I loved it. I just loved being the stained glass windows, you know, the ringing the bells, you know, the ceremony, the honouring some great mystery that I didn't, you know, the God stories, they all just made sense to me, you know. And every now and again, a priest from the community would die and the coffin would be left open, you know. And because you had sort of like a couple of hours, like between the masses or whatever, you'd ramble around and you might bump into... There's Father Hegarty, you know, he was a guy that used to teach me for years, and now he's just there in an open coffin. And so he would have been like a teacher that I knew, but I wouldn't have had the emotional connection, like say if it was a parent, you know, when you see somebody who you're very emotionally attached to, and then you see that they've dropped the body, that you, obviously because you're so gripped by the emotion, sometimes it can be hard, but I was on my own, rambling around, and like corpses in open coffins was sort of normal. So like I would go in as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old and like have a really good look you know, at the you know, the vessel that carried Father Hegarty for his lifetime. Do you know what I mean? And I was fascinated with this.
It's
Not
actually
in
a
the,
fascinating thing, isn't it? To look
yeah,
at. Even when my dad passed over,
yeah,
I was looking at it going, that's not my dad.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
not him.
It's absolutely not.
It's not.
And it was kind of like, it was very formative, this, you know what I mean, for me, because like I instantly felt, wow, like whatever Father Hegarty is now, is not in the material
Yeah.
that's been dropped. You know what I mean?
That's
It's,
so significant.
isn't it?
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
it? So, and this happened to me like maybe, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 priests would have passed on while I was in my altar boying phase. And I used to never think anything of it. It'd be like, oh, there's a dead priest. You know, in the oratory, there was in the kind of side room.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
very reverent, like, it was very, you know, and it wasn't like, I wasn't being,
Nonchalant or anything.
yeah, I wasn't being disrespectful or
Yeah,
anything,
no,
but
no.
I'm just saying it was an unusual occurrence now looking back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there's a lot of 12-year-olds walking around looking at, you know, people, the sort of the canoe that has been left, if you like, that carried the spirit.
Yeah.
So it had an impact on me, is my point. You know what I mean? And I'd at the same time, I'd always felt that like there's so much more to reality than we meet through our five senses. You know, just that as in, you know, we're living in a vast spiritual universe. You know, where the life force that's behind the body, it's not linked to the body. You know, so it's this idea that we're spiritual beings, essentially. We come into these things temporarily, you know, to have this manifestation of it. But the spirit, you know, this idea that there's a part of us that's like, you know, is never born and never dies, you know, this sort of eternal essence. Like that just was in me from when I was like 10, 11, 12, you know. So I'm just trying to throw that in there with like, oh yeah, I'll do my exams and I'll go to college and I'll get a good job and then everything will be perfect. Yeah, that's all I have to do, you know. So what happened then was I did go to college, you know, and I won awards and I got a big job in the Bank of Ireland as a prestigious kind of award for great big status and prestige when I was halfway through college. And I realized, oh my God, like, I mean,
there.
yeah, this was it. Like I had
Alan Watts talks about, does an analogy in this, you know.
really, what does he say?
He basically says the thing that you says, you know, you wake up, you go to kindergarten, you
Yeah.
go to school, come on, kitty.
Yeah.
You get to college, get the job, and then you do, and then you die.
Yeah.
What's it all about?
Yeah.
You missed the dance.
Yeah.
It's a dance.
Yeah. So that was becoming, so I had the best thing about winning this award, and I won a job in the Bank of Ireland, had a picture on the paper with the governor of the bank. My mother stuck it on the fridge. Are you with me, Matt?
Ah,
Are you with me?
proud as punch.
Yeah, this is the zone we're in. And that was a great awakening for me because I was only halfway through college. And then I realized that like these large organizations, you know, weren't ever going to suit my temperament, you know. And I had this kind of like, I suppose, a demoralizing kind of wake-up call that like these big organizations that we were kind of being manufactured to become participants in were almost like machines of oppression designed to keep people in unsatisfactory modes of existence, or at least that was my opinion. I used to be a little bit countercultural. I've subsequently like eased off. The Bank of Ireland is fine and they serve great jobs and I don't have any problems with, you know,
but it's
not for everyone, you know, but I was finding my way, if you like. And so I did have this kind of needle scratch across the record where everything that I was being encouraged to become, I realized in this kind of one moment this summer when I, you know, when I worked in the bank, that I would never be able to fit in to these large organizations. And I started pulling rickshaws around Dublin at the time just for my sanity. So in the evening after the bank, I'd drag drunk people from Grafton Street up to Leeson Street in a rickshaw. And I was making great money and I was having great fun and I was like interacting with humans and it was so much more enjoyable in a way. So I had this kind of like epiphany of sorts in college where I was like, the sort of the conditioning that I'd been sort of uh, not subservient to, but the conditioning of my upbringing, I realized was only going to get me so far. You know what I mean? And so at that time I started my own business. You know, I had a little business. It was not, I'm not a millionaire or anything, you know, but I had enough to kind of like have my own freedom, my own autonomy, enough to pay my bills. I bought a little apartment. I felt deeply in love with this gorgeous girl in college. She's my wife today. We're together 30 years. I'm very, very lucky, you know.
Nice.
And so there was like, on one level, and I don't mean this in an arrogant way or an obnoxious way, and I have to be careful when I say this because it could be misinterpreted as being like, everything's all right with me, Jack. I don't mean it that way, but like, I found my way through college. I realized I couldn't work in big organizations. I started my own business. I fell in love with a girl. We bought a little modest apartment. But like, on paper, what else do you want? Like, I've got everything in terms of the material needs of the world. But inside me, right, I just knew that there was a massive vacuum that was being unattended to, right? And I remember cycling down the Keys. You know, the business was going well, like this girl I loved, but there was something missing, some massive hole in my life that wasn't being attended to, you know? And I knew it was just my spiritual side. It was that side of me who was like in the church looking at the mystery of what happens, the posthumous journey of the soul with those priests in the coffins, you know. I was like, if I don't attend to that side of myself, I know that I'm not going to do very well in this world. So I signed up for a spiritual enrichment course. Mad when I think about it, in the Milltown Institute. Now I'm like 21. And like all my mates are drinking or we're going to gigs, which I love as well.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, it's like this is the time to have fun, which I was doing. And I love drinking and I love partying and I love DJing and I was into psychedelic trance and I was having a lot of fun. But I was like, I just, every Monday I went out to this like philosophy school in Milltown. I was gassed because I was with like people that were more than double my age, nearly triple my age, you know. And they all had these broken relationships with the church because the church was so demonic and all these bad things happened. By the way, all my time in the church, like Holy Roman Catholic altar boy days, I met like these wise wizards that were like the most incredible men who were inspirations to me. I had no bad experience with the church at all, ever, you know. So when I went to the spiritual enrichment course, this was a 2-year kind of thing, pretty intense, like every Saturday, a full day, every Monday, a full day as well. And it was just, I needed somewhere to go to nourish myself because I'd stopped going to mass, I'd no kind of practice, I'd no, and I was doing meditation, but I needed more, you know. And then that began this sort of like opening to, yeah, I think this is that missing piece can be nourished here, right? So I'll just skip through that, fast forward. There's a thing called a spiritual emergency, you know, where you're kind of like, you're you're starved of that
spiritual emergency or a spiritual emergence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it actually is a play on both, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a great lecturer there, this guy called Pat Collins. He was speaking about contemporary Irish spirituality, and they were all talking about how the church had collapsed and we'd become this secular society. This was close to like the Celtic Tiger and all those times, you know. And I loved this guy. I loved his take on spirituality, you know. And he mentioned this book called Passion of the Western Mind by this guy called Rick Tarnas, right?
Okay.
A big 400-pager, like life changer, to be honest.
Is
And
it?
yeah, I read this in 2004. And then my tutor at the time, a lovely lady called Eileen, brought me into the office, you know, Geoff, would you be free for a word? You know the way people can be lovely. Like, I do this now to people. But she was like, I thought, like, I wanted to mention this book to you. And it was like Spiritual Emergency, Stanislav Grof, right?
Okay.
He'd kind of edited this book. And then The Passion of the Western Mind is one of the greatest books about the history of evolution, about how we've developed our perception of reality as a Western culture. It's like an unbelievable journey through history that blew my mind. I read it over like about 3 months and finished it on my honeymoon in 2004. And he's a friend of Stan Grof, which I didn't know at the time. And this, I was kind of, how can one dude write this in one lifetime? And this ended up with this kind of like huge kind of tribute to the work that Stan Groff is doing in transpersonal psychology. And then my other tutor said, you might like this book, Spiritual Emergency, Stan Groff. So then I start looking at like this Stan Groff dude. Who is he? I kind of liked him. I kind of liked his take on his cartography of the psyche. I started reading his books. I was like, this really was the first time in my life I had a map of the world I had been experiencing ever since I was a kid. That this finally made total sense to me. You know, this vast cartography of consciousness, and all of the experiences that I'd had I had a placeholder that I could put them in, you know. So I was then looking at like holotropic breathwork. I was just newly married, you know. My wife was already thinking I was a bit weird with everything I was into. So like talking about this like wacky breathwork thing, and I wanted to train it. I looked through the schedule. It was like just a little bit out of reach. It was like Tasmania off Australia, or Guadalajara in Mexico. This were all the places were. Taos, New Mexico in America.
There's some of it's done, isn't it?
Yeah, but even I don't even think there was many in Europe at that time, you know. So I kind of said, you know, someday maybe, you know, but it just wasn't. And then 2006, I kept looking at the schedule, and then I kid you not, it was like Stanislav Grof, Psychology of the Future, Boyne Valley Hotel, Drogheda, 6-day module. I was like, are you kidding me? Like on my doorstep, you know? And I was like, so this was kind of like my hero at the time, you know, coming to my doorstep with this modality that I was so passionate about. And I was like, okay, well, if the universe is sending me a signal, I've got to go, you know. And so I went to that module, 40 minutes up the road from where I lived. I honestly experienced like my first breath work that like changed my life, you know what I mean? Changed my life. And I'll stop the rant here. I'm just trying to give you a sort of a step ladder to
When
where
you
I
say
got to.
You keep going. I've got a
Yeah.
question. In one
So like, you know, I'd always had this feeling that there's more to reality than we confront through our senses, you know. And when I lay down on the mat to do this breathwork technique called holotropic breathwork, I had this like unbelievable, profound, life-changing experience where I literally went out the top of my head, you know, up off planet Earth, you know, into looking at the solar system from above, you know, and just seeing the sun and all the planets floating around, and just this gorgeous dance. Like, it's so beautiful, our solar system. It was like, and it was, you know, it's this deep experiential kind of union with almost becoming the solar system, you know. And I was kind of just in my imagination enjoying this journey of the imagination almost, you know. And then I sort of said it's kind of similar to like an atom, or if you think about like an atom is like a nucleus, like where the sun was, and then there's electrons that are like, you know, kind of circling around. I know it's not exact, but for me it was this kind of metaphor. And then this type of sort of solar system coalesced into becoming an atom and then floated down. I remember it so distinctly, by the way, and it went boom into my right big toe, okay? And then like it rippled through my whole body, like fizzing like this, like into these kind of like 70 trillion atoms that make me up, that was vibrating, all held together by spaciousness, really, the same as the solar system. And I just went whoosh, you know, and dissolved into union with this grand geometric pattern, basically. You know, the solar system, me, everything just dissolved into this deeply reassuring like pattern of order that was just so much bigger than little me, the solar system we live in, and everything, you know, to the infinity of the cosmos. So like it literally like blew my mind, Matt. You know, I was never the same again after it, you know what I mean? It was like literally like, you know, it was like waking up in the Matrix, but not like the horrible Matrix that Neo woke up in. This gorgeous, beautiful, patterned universe that's imbued with this intelligence that's like got our backs. How gorgeous is that? Like to know in every moment that everything is okay, that you're made up of these like incredibly complex dancing, you know, geometries in every moment to let you be here. Never mind the miracle of like hearing my words and you just being able to translate that into like meaning, and then looking at me and seeing me and the billions of things that have to happen for the, it's just, and so this just kept coming. Like every breath work I did was like this like miraculous epiphany for me, Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Which I know is very different to a lot of people's other experience of breath
I've
work.
done a few of them.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be, it's very different for everyone, you know. But for me, I had quite a unique experience. And I remember when people went around the opening circle, just being very honest, there was a lot of traumatized people there. A lot of people had very, very difficult lives, right? And I was like so high from dissolving into union with everything, all that is. I remember I met the tutor, you know, who became my dearest friend and mentor and guide, Tav Sparks, you know. He was like Stan's kind of like ally, you know, and helped him build the school over the years.
Did
you know.
They fall out?
They had a terrible falling out. It was like Jung and Freud or something.
Why
at
did
the
they
end.
Fall out again?
I think just like the fallibility of being human, I guess.
Okay.
You know what I mean? There was a sort of a breakdown in the ego level between the two grand masters, which of course is so ironic, and also the ultimate teaching for all of us that, like, you know, all the holotropic mantras, like, it's never about the other person. The only person you're ever working on is yourself. And
it's about
blah, blah.
wholeness.
Yeah, exactly. And then the thing is, like, I need that to be mirrored in the world. So, like, if you and me have a difficulty and we're trying to, you know, be better than what we're capable of being, that, like, hopefully we could be an example then for people looking at you and I, so that we can elegantly work out our differences in a way that's kind of cool. That would be my preference.
And that's, I think that's the hallmark of when you're working with someone or working with a modality. I never have an issue with the modality.
Yeah.
It's like, do you embody the principle of it?
Yeah.
Like, if you're espousing to teach peace, love, joy, do you actually walk as that? Not just in the 45 minutes or the 30 minutes or an hour session you do with someone.
Yeah.
Do you do that in Tesco? Do you do it in your family? Do you do it with your ma?
Yeah.
That you've had that upbringing with? That's the testament to the work, to the psychotherapy, to the psychology, to the holotropic, to the breathwork, to anything.
Yeah,
that you live that.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is the thing I found working in healthcare and working with different, say, therapists. They did the work in the hour and they espoused this modality may work, but then they're off doing these things, and I'm like, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
That's not integral.
Yeah.
It's horse shit.
Yeah, horse shit. That's exactly what it is. And it's always disillusioning, you know, when the teacher falls from grace, you know. Now, I have a huge regard for Stan and a huge regard for Tav, you know, personally. And just huge gratitude for the gift of what I've received from both of them, you know. But it is disheartening that, you know, that on the human level there can be a breakdown. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose in a way it came at a time in my life where I was now being invited into standing on my own ground. You know what I mean? And sort of being independent in terms of where I fit in to presenting my work to the world, and not necessarily feeling it necessary to have a hook aligned with like one school or another school, or, you know, so it's sort of, I always like this principle that, like, you know, we're all being guided from some deep wisdom within ourselves. Yeah. You know, I call it the inner healer. You know, that sometimes that word doesn't work for everyone.
Which?
Call it, like, I think like the greatest gift any of us have is the fact that we have this inner wisdom within ourselves that we can connect with, and that's the greatest source of guidance for any of us.
And I think our role is to remind people of that.
Yeah, exactly. So
like, it's not the modality, it's not the breath work, it's not the ayahuasca,
it's not the sacred geometry,
it's not the fucking sacred
it's not
geometry.
The mandalas, it's what all that's secondary.
What you said earlier at the very, very start, it's so complex, the work can get so complex, but it's really simple. You go down, it's love, it's peace, it's harmony in the system. It's that they already have wholeness, and the things that's knocking them off balance, we'll have to just get you to stop doing that for a minute. Get you back into a homeostasis.
And so the person who knows what's best for Matt is Matt. You know what I mean? You know what's best for you. I don't know what's right for you. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have a clue. You know what I mean? But I have a huge faith, like a blind belief in the fact that you do have that in you. You know, that we all, every single being that's manifested here in this reality has this like God-given gift, which is this kind of innate inner wisdom that's within. It's a behind closed eyelids interior journey. You journey inward towards the source of who you are. When you listen to the whispers that come from there, that's what it's all about. Everything.
If you want
is
to
about
test
that.
this out, cut your finger, get a
Yeah.
little blade, cut your finger, and see what happens.
Yeah.
It heals itself.
Yeah.
Don't get in the way. Don't touch it. Don't leave it. Just give a little cut
Yeah.
and see what happens. It's an innate ability of the body to heal itself.
Yeah.
But we try to outsmart it.
Yeah.
We try to outdo fucking biology. We try to outdo nature.
Yeah.
It's innate in us to repair.
Yeah. So you can trust if you cut your hand, you can trust that your body has what it needs to heal that. You know, it's gonna develop into a scab. It's gonna need a little bit of time. Then that's gonna peel off. Then the new skin is gonna grow. If I cut the chair, that's not gonna happen.
No.
The chair doesn't have an inner healing mechanism in the way that we do. You know, so it's
Unless you're a haemophiliac.
yeah. Oh,
They
yeah.
don't.
Exactly. Well, that's a different thing. Yeah.
That's a
Of course.
different
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Exactly. Or
You need to get
yeah.
you some platelets.
But maybe if the haemophiliac broke their leg, maybe the bone would heal. I don't know. You know, or you know what I mean? There's like
there is an innate wisdom within inside of the body
that knows how to heal.
that knows how to heal.
And I believe that doesn't stop at just the physical body, but that like in our psyches, in our consciousness, in our souls, that the same principle of this. So holotropic means moving towards wholeness, that we're always moving towards wholeness, you know. But all that means
Warhol.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you could look at it that way. Exactly. It's like there's a lovely idea that actually all we're doing is remembering, like that we have always been whole. And it's just that we've made some innocent mistakes and that we've forgotten. So there's this, I love this idea from, it's actually Socrates was talking about this slave called Meno. And there's this really cool geometric exercise in this story of Socrates gets this slave child. He was like the slave of this king or somebody, I think called Meno slave. And it sounds bad like slave. It's not like, back then it was like servant boy type thing, right? And it's written in Plato about his teacher Socrates. But he's basically showing this group of people that everybody has this innate knowledge, like real truth is within all of us. We don't need to learn it. Like, you know, like the truth of the universe. And this can be revealed through our knowledge of geometry. And he does this kind of like exercise called doubling the area of a square. And he draws it out on the sand in a beach. And so he gets the so-called uneducated boy because the servant boy hasn't gone to school, he hasn't been educated, he wouldn't understand the principles of geometry or mathematics. And what he's trying to show to like a group of wise people is that this wisdom is innate within everybody. So by taking the servant boy through like a sort of a sequence of exercises, he's able to show that the boy is able to do the exercise of doubling the area of a square. And so it's like, the boy is just remembering something that's always been in him, that can't be taken from him, that always will be there. So I think it's called amnesis. I'm not pronouncing that probably. Anamnesis, I think. It's like, so all learning is remembering. You know, all learning is remembering. And do you ever have that feeling like where you learn something new, but you're like, it's just like, it's not, you've always known it. It's just, you're remembering it. It's like, but of course, like,
Makes sense.
I know that. Like, yes, that's the remembering. Like, it's not like if you need to fix your motorbike and you have to work out like some complicated piece of the engine. Yeah, of course you need to learn external instructions to fix something in the world that way. Or if you're going on an aircraft flight and you need the technician to fix a problem, I don't want those guys to be like, you know, tapping into their inner healer and, you know, like trusting, like anamnesis or the law of remembering, you know. So we need to sort of keep our foot in the world as well, you know. It's a type of knowledge you're remembering when you do this work. It's a type of like the deeper truths of who you are and your soul are always there, you know.
It's like
Just
what
grab a
we said,
water.
remembering the essence of why we're here.
Yeah.
Love, peace, joy, harmony.
Yeah.
That's the script.
Totally,
And
yeah.
then when we do the mechanics or we do the flying of a plane, We embody that. And we fly it with love, we fly it with peace, we fix cars with love.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that seems to be forgotten a lot of times with people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I wanted to say, I wanted to bring you somewhere with me in terms of where I got into geometry then. Do you know what I mean? So, like, when I'd had that experience at breathwork, and I'd kind of really, oh, I'm okay there on the phone. I I had this feeling of this great pattern of order that holds everything together at every scale, every level. It just went through me, you know, and I felt so passionate about this work, this holotropic breath work, that I was like a born again Christian or some evangelical holotropicer all of a sudden. I thought once everybody experienced this, the world would change, because I was naive. I felt that everyone would experience, you know, this kind of cosmic union with all that is and blend into this grand pattern of order. And I just wanted to share it with people. I wanted people to feel as good as I felt. I just, you know, there's this, it's almost built into the system. When you have something that makes you feel so good, you want to share it with people. It's kind of gorgeous about it, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah.
You know? So back in the early days, you had to go training, and that was a whole rigmarole. It took like, you know, like 2 years if you were doing nearly full time, and I didn't have that time.
You have to do some 7 modules.
Yeah.
I embarked on that thinking I was going to go do holotropic training.
Yeah.
I got discouraged from it.
Yeah, I want to hear about your journey with holotropic as well, you know,
Yeah.
because I know Tommy has had a very different journey than I've had, and
Yeah.
I think it's really important to have these conversations out in the open. You know, I'd love to hear about, so we might jump to that in a sec, but I just wanted to give you a kind of a nice kind of like sort of completion to this circle. So I started drawing geometry around this time, just simple squares, triangles, you know, doing little mandalas, colouring, and what I was doing was I was staying connected to that pattern of order that I experienced in that breath work, you know, that it was like, it was my way of just staying in union with this grand pattern, you know, which like is part of my everyday now, you know what I mean? This makes me, it's like my cosmic happy pill, just to look at a daisy or a wildflower and see the geometry like winking at you going, hey, you know, it's everywhere, you know what I mean? It's so gorgeous to live like this, you know? And so I then literally said, look, until I'm certified to do the breathwork and be this kind of qualified holotropic breathwork teacher, I'm just going to invite people to create mandalas out of sand. I developed it. It took me a few years to do it myself, where I started creating these geometries with sand. So I started drawing the geometry. I started like colouring in mandalas. Then that developed into kind of sand mandalas. And I was just doing it on my own at home and having very profound experiences as I made these geometries, you know. And I went very, very deep. And then I was like, I wonder if I shared this with people, would I be able to, you know, perhaps see would it work for others in the way it's working for me. So then I started this series of workshops, sand mandala workshops, you know, and it was entirely holotropic, right? Because everything is about like the idea that we all have this wisdom. It's within us. It's a wisdom within us that we can trust, you know. It's not holotropic, it's not Buddhist, it's not Catholic, it's not nothing. It's just like, that's the gig. Every single being on planet Earth has a resource inside themselves that they can trust. And so that's all I'm about. You know what I mean? It's all I'm about. And so it was just like, okay, well, you know, some people might do yoga, some people might make soup, some people might do a cookery course. I've got this sand mandala thing. You know, you come along, and so I did borrow explicitly from what I'd learned in holotropic, which was, you do a little bit of preparation, you give people a sort of an idea of what we're doing. It's an inner journey, it's a meditation basically. There's 3 hours then, instead of doing breath work, you're given like a pre-drawn sacred geometry template. You're given like a selection of coloured sands. And it's almost like child's play. and you're given this kind of Tibetan tool that the Tibetan monks use called a shakpur, and then you just spend 3 hours kind of in this deep meditation, almost just enjoying the colouring in of this mandala. And then I would invite people to, you see, bring their awareness to what's coming from the unconscious. Because when you do mandalas, you kind of give your left brain like this, right, you just busy yourself over there with the colours and make it look nice and keep it in the lines. And your brain goes, oh, brilliant, I've got something to do. So it goes off then, and you've kind of fixed that part of your brain off there. It's delighted with itself, busy. But then there's this magic spaciousness that emerges while the left brain's over there. You now have this spaciousness where you can begin to observe what's really emerging from the deeper dimensions of your consciousness. Right. So then what happens is you get this wonderful opportunity to just become the witness of what's emerging into your awareness. And this is like the principle of how we heal, how we go on that journey towards integration. It's like it's allowing the contents of the unconscious come up into the light of our awareness. It's kind of the whole process, right? So you're busy over here doing the mandala, but really what you're doing, the primary work is, oh, wow, that's a memory from childhood, or, cool. You know, that's an interesting idea about cause and effect, or, you know, I wonder, like, how do electrons stay fixed around the nucleus, you know, whatever, it can be anything, you know, and so you're gifting yourself this opportunity to reveal the deeper dimensions of who you are. And so when you see something emerge into consciousness, then there's an opportunity to sort of drop the board, drop all the work. I call that the active phase. And you kind of lie back on a mat, close your eyes, and just bring it then. Whatever it is that's moving for you, you just literally surrender into allowing that move. If you feel so called, by the way, you know, you can do whatever you want in the mandala zone. And then you allow that come into the light of your awareness. And I have these kind of mantras about the work. I say, like, all we have to do is let the contents of our unconscious flow up into the light of our awareness, okay? And then awareness itself is the healer. Now, this is kind of important. It's getting a little bit technical, but it's so simple in a way. It's like, all you have to do is like actually realize that awareness itself is the healer. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to go and do another course. You don't have to read a book. You don't have to change yourself. You just have to, it's almost like if your awareness is like this blowtorch, right? And then the contents from the unconscious are like little bits of charcoal. It's like you bring up the bits of charcoal and then the blowtorch of your awareness goes, whoosh, it just burns them to a cinder. They evaporate, you know? Now, not necessarily, let's say you have a big life chunker, like some massive trauma from childhood. You're not going to blast that away in a 3-hour kind of blowtorch, you know what I mean? I'm not claiming that this is some sort of silver bullet to healing, you know? But what I'm so passionate about is that, like, because we're so conditioned by the external world with our phones and the algorithms and AI and advertising, and our entire lives are so programmed by the external, so few of us ever allow ourselves emerge from within. We just were so impoverished, or we're so disadvantaged when it comes to actually any sense of inner experience. You know, we're living these impoverished lives of being oversaturated by the external. So what I'm trying to do in the workshops or the meditations or anything I offer is basically this simple principle. Just create a little bit of space so that you can just open to whatever it is that's emerging for you. You know, I don't know what it is, you know? And so recently then, like I've been doing workshops where I say, all you have to do is let it come up into the light of your awareness. And awareness itself is the healer. You know, bish, bang, bosh, and we're all done, right? Now, I've come in for some criticism about this mantra that I have recently from really good friends, like really good. I was at a workshop there recently doing my mandala thing, and one of my closest friends says, it's not enough, Geoff. It's not enough. Bullshit. Awareness itself is not
awareness
the healer.
Is the greatest agent for change.
Yeah.
But it's not the finished point.
And it's like my friend was saying, I've been bringing this shit up into awareness all the time. It's still fucking there. It's not gone. you know, so what you're saying isn't working, Geoff, you know what I mean? Which I love. I'm like, you know, okay, well, like, I'm not like, it's not, I don't have some sort of guarantee or some sort of promise. It's like, it's more like an intuition that it's helpful if we can open to our deeper dimensions and let those contents rise into consciousness, that I feel it's really supportive of our growth, right? Because for two reasons. One is we're no longer blind, like we're not being like, you know, we're not like blind puppets being operated by these forces operating beneath the surface. We can kind of go, that's why I always feel like this.
Brilliant.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, great.
You know, it's
brilliant.
like,
Bring
it's
the
like
light
an insight.
Bring the dark into the light.
Yeah, and go, and in so doing, free yourself from the hold it has on you. Yeah. You go like, oh, I know what this is. That's the reason I'm really annoyed with this woman, is because my mother used to always say that, and she's reminded me of this, and it's really nothing to do with her. Okay. It's this little thing that like is a pattern that I have, but I don't need to be trapped by that anymore. Yeah. And it's the insight of, oh, now I know I am annoyed with this lady.
But 99.9% of people don't want to stop.
Yeah, exactly.
You've shown them the movie, you brought them to the theatre, you brought them to the ayahuasca, the holotropic, and went, this may be the reason why you're being see you next Tuesday with your wife or your brother or your family. And they go, oh, wow. Yeah. And then they return back to their everyday life and it goes,
why is this happening again?
Why is this happening? They're back on the Johnny Blue, they're having their smokes, they're eating, they're binging, they're drinking, they're watching porn. Yeah. But you had that insight, you seen it. Yeah. You brought it up.
Yeah. Why did it not change?
Why did it not change?
Yeah.
Because you're not changing.
Yeah.
Don't say that thing. Don't do that thing. Don't think that way anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so this is an interesting conversation, isn't it? This idea of like, you know, does it work? Like, is awareness itself enough? Or is that bullshit? Like, I'm open to that. Like, maybe I'm totally wrong about shit. Like, I'm wrong about stuff all the time, you know? So it's kind of, it's been my experience.
It's not about being wrong.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate at a time for people?
Yeah.
People are deeply unconscious, then you want to help them to bring some conscious, some awareness, bring that dark up. Yeah. And then, like, the bridge is not the only place where you meet people.
Yeah, exactly.
You meet them on the bridge, you meet them upstream, you catch them before they get into the fucking river.
Yeah, exactly.
There's many points to this where you have people going, no, it's all about the bridge.
Yeah.
It's the fucking bridge, you have to fucking man the bridge all day, every day.
Every bridge, everywhere, lights, at all times.
Cameras, things. And you go, but what about the stream? Right, then we'll do that as well. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's many points to this, so we can't espouse to say that this is the only way, because it's not.
Exactly, yeah. And I'd never mean to do that, you know. It's like, it's more like I'm just kind of like exploring this and finding my way with it. And the truth is, though, I have had incredible upgrades in my awareness and breakthroughs in consciousness and sort of visceral feelings of like residual energy, like leaving my entire energy field through this process of bringing stuff up into the light of my awareness. And sometimes it doesn't happen where I get a total freedom from something, but I had like moments where I've had this life pattern trigger me, be released from my entire energy field. Like, as in, I was almost, if you can imagine a large sunflower with massive roots, and the more I brought it into my awareness, it was like this sunflower was being pulled out of my being, and I felt the roots. I was like, oh my God, like this is a huge, and it just kept going. It was like, wow. And then the whole thing just went whoosh, and I kid you not, like it's gone, like overdone. Like I don't have to do anything about it. It's never come back. It's gone. It's like left the building fully. So you see, there's a part of me really does believe in, no, awareness itself is the healer. Now, we might need to do it a number of times. We might need to, but I do believe that like it is enough to free you, you know? And so with my friend, I was like, she said, no, it's not enough. Like my issue with my mother has not gone away, you know? And it's like, it's really bad. And you up there saying, oh, awareness self is the healer, just bring it up into consciousness and you're free. it's kind of annoying for people because it's like, no, because I did that, I brought it up into my awareness, and I still feel trapped by it, you know. So I'm like, wow, I'm open to that. You know what I mean? I'm like, so what am I saying then? Like, what am I talking about? Bringing it into awareness. And one of the things I was doing was, when I say bring the contents of the unconscious into your awareness, it's not like, oh, I hate my mother and I wish I didn't. You know, that's not it. You know, it's like you, first of all, you have to open the trapdoors to the vastness of your personal unconscious and the collective unconscious. And when you open those trapdoors, you've no say in what comes up. So it's a little bit of you have to kind of get a posture of genuinely being open to anything that might come. And we don't know, it's not like you can't go in and say, right, I'm going to sort this mother issue out. I don't think that works. It's just like our consciousness is commensurate with becoming like one with all that is. Like the entire universe is just like a consciousness machine, in my opinion, right? Okay. And so we can dissolve into becoming that, like everything that is. We're capable of that. Like we're fields of consciousness, totally capable of transcending time, space, like personal ego, all that, in a heartbeat, you know? And so when we do that though, we don't have a say in what's going to come up. You know, it's like...
In the journey.
In the journey, yeah. It's like we have to have an openness to surrender. And it's kind of hard to do because you can't really surrender. It's like something that happens to you rather than something you do. So, exactly. Like, it is complicated stuff, and I'm not for a moment suggesting it's easy, and I'm certainly not suggesting that like I'm some expert at it or anything. Like, I don't know what I'm doing most of the time. And like the great mystery that like I dissolve into, I have no idea what it is or what it's about or what's going on. I know nothing about it. It's just the only thing I have is this overwhelming awe that there is this incredible vastness that's imbued with an intelligence that's so bigger than anything I can ever imagine, that it's...
Than the petty argument with your mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and it's the best feeling in the world to know that that's the gig. That's the greatest gig in town, you know what I mean? So I'm like, wow.
Like any of the NDEs, the near-death experiences, anyone that comes back and speaks about them, speaks about this.
The
vastness, the love, the expansiveness, all there is just love. That is, and to use a religious term, that is the Mecca. Like that is the Omega, that is the point of...
Totally.
That's all I ever want to do. When I even say the word, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. What's that mean? Love,
yeah. And by the way, just to echo what you're saying, I haven't really spoken about love here much, but it's absolutely only love. It's just love. It's like begins, it is and always will be just unconditional love. And I've always thought like love, it kind of has been sort of made a bit cheesy in our world. You know, it's a bit like, you know, like walking down the pier with your girlfriend and have a rose in your hand, you know. Like, we're not talking about that type of love, you know. It's like, love is... It is the state of being that exists when you dissolve into union with all that is. It's only love. It's only unconditional love, where you're held by I mean, the only word I have for it is like an intelligence, but even that sounds a bit sterile, you know, because it's this warm-hearted, reassuring caress where you're literally like, you know, it's indescribable how good it feels, you know. And like, we're always there. We're there when we go to Tesco's. We're there when we're like fighting with our loved ones. We're there when we're in traffic. It's not like, that's the other thing. It's not like you have to kind of go out the top of your head and have these epiphanies and, you know, it's like, no, it's just be there all the time.
That's what someone said to me, my mate said to me, how did you stand on the altar with your dad's, like do your dad's eulogy? How did you speak like that?
Yeah.
You know, I says, that's love.
Yeah.
I says, I remember someone before the funeral saying to me, it's okay to fall apart. And I says, let's not get into a definition of what falling apart means for you.
Yeah.
But love doesn't fall apart.
Yeah. And that,
It
yeah.
just doesn't.
Yeah.
I says, I love my dad. This is a eulogy to a superhero. He's like,
Yeah.
like, how could I not do this?
Yeah.
I love him. I love my ma so much. Love is doing this.
Yeah.
Not the Matt personality. That's what love does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I get it, holding hands on the promenade and eating ice cream and swapping your hands over.
Which I love, by the way.
Yeah,
Don't get
I
me,
love
that's
all
gorgeous.
that. Yeah. But people have this connotation, love is all, it's all.
It's like Hallmark, or it's kind of cheesy, or it's Valentine's Day, or
Love is
you're
the
not
guy on the
talking-
bridge.
Yeah, that's
Love is the guy on the bridge.
That's it. That's real love. You
That,
know.
like,
I mean,
that-
well, the guy getting to the guy on the bridge is real love.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
That you can offer that. That's what love does.
Yeah, yeah,
People,
yeah.
I remember someone in the job when I worked in a hospital. Someone I was talking about something, and then she's like, "Oh, that's just bullshit." That did, and I says, "Look, I look at things through a compassionate lens. Oh, don't give me all that compassionate shite. Oh, that's all a bit white and fluffy." I says, "Can I educate you for a minute when it comes to compassion? What compassion actually is? It's the ability to identify suffering in yourself and others and want to alleviate it. Self being the operative part. I understand suffering from my inside, so I know it, and I want to look at things from a 360 view.
Yeah, yeah.
It's easy to judge from a one-dimensional point.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way.
Yeah,
I see
yeah.
multi-dimensional, 360, up, down. I get it, and then I'm less likely to give people shit.
Yeah.
But people see compassion as white and fluffy, and it's all a bit too nice.
Yeah, yeah. No, and like these are heavy duty. Like these are the most like heavyweight cosmic forces that are like love. You know, it's not like, it's the opposite of that. You know, it's the ability to be on the bridge with somebody who's about to take their life. You know, and to not just try to persuade them back off the bridge, but to be able to inhabit the field of pain that they're in, and to share that pain with them so that they feel the burden lightening in that moment. That's what compassion is. That's what love is. It's heavyweight. It's not like this kind of cheesy thing. It's like, it takes a huge amount of inner resilience and courage to truly be loving to those depths, you know, to say, hey man, honestly, I'm willing to get in here with you. I'm going to feel what you're feeling. I'm going to be in here with you, and I'm going to take it from you. That's what you're doing. That's real love. You know what I mean? That's when people feel it. It's like, oh my God, I do feel a bit lighter all of a sudden. It's because you're saying, I'm going to carry it, dude.
I'm gonna walk with you.
Yeah.
I'm remembering love right now because you're encapsulated, or you feel like you're encapsulated in your body with fear.
Yeah.
But let me remind you what love does. I remember I used to put my hand on my dad's heart every day, and I'd say, Matzer, keep the faith. You're my right kin. We had him in palliative care. I was walking away out of his room, because he'd be in the room, my ma be out there, and I'd go out and tell her what he said and what she said. I'd tell him, but they loved each other.
Yeah.
And he said, Matzer, before you go, how do I get ready to die? How do I prepare to die? And I turned around and went, fuck. I says, I don't know that. I don't remember what the last time I died.
Yeah.
I said, what I do know is that we have an opportunity in every moment to choose love or fear. Whether that's United, whether it's the rugby, whether it's your football, the grandkids, my ma. That's a choice right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, so we can do that. Me having this conversation with you. I said, what are you afraid of? And he was like, dying in a hospital. And I said, well, I won't let that happen. I'm going to keep you here. And that's where we got into the conversation. It says, like, if you take a cardiac arrest or had cancer for 13 years, I said, well, I'll keep you or let you go, because I'm first aid. And he went, let me go, Matzer. And I'm like, that's what I'll do for you, that.
Yeah.
That's what love does.
Yes.
I'll do that for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when that time came, that's what love did. My ma was like, keep him. And I'm like, no, ma. And there's pictures over there. I see, he asked me to let him go, and that's what love does.
Yeah. Were you there when he dropped his body?
Yeah.
Were you? How was that? Like, I mean, was it because I've never been with someone who's actually dropped their body. You know, I saw those priests when I was young, and you know, and obviously, you know, all the funerals I've gone to. But like, I'm always curious about, in the moment of passing, is it a special moment, or is it so hectic that like it's hard to actually catch the spiritual essence underneath it, you know, because you hear about these great spiritual teachers like Ram Dass, and he speaks so eloquently about like being in the presence of people at the moment of passing. And it's like this kind of, you know, some people talk about like the death spark, or you see like a, you know, a luminous light, or you can feel the soul departing the body, or I was just curious, like, was there any of that, or was it
So
more just like
my man rang me.
batshit crazy?
No. My man rang me, and it was 444 for anyone interested in angel numbers. It was the 11th of the 4th, 111, wholeness and angels. So as soon as I got to the door, I do what I always do before I go into a perceived conflict. I close my mouth and I breathe through my nose. So that tells my brain and my body, silence, be quiet inside. Because that's how you'll serve best. And then I went in, and his body was on the floor, non-responsive. He was still warm, you know, and my ma was going crazy. She was wild, but I was really still in that moment. I'm here to do a job. And I took his pulse, I checked, and it was non-responsive. He wasn't responding. There was no way I was doing any cardiac fucking work on him, although I'm first aid trained. And I called the ambulance, and then they all tried to make it hectic. My ma was going hectic, but I didn't allow that to be. I have his pillow there, the pillow that he passed over on. I put a pillow under him, and I just kneeled down beside him. I just rocked his body. And I just told him, I love you, Dad. I got you. You're going to be okay. We're good. And then I spoke to the ambulance people, and they wanted me to do his chest thing. And they were trying to get me to count and all. 1, 2, 3. And I remember the train. 1, 2. And he goes, is he doing that? And I went, he's not doing fucking nothing. I'm just rocking him. He's like a fucking chicken, you know. He's like, you know, you get a chicken out of Super Quinn, and you're just the skin. He's just skin and bones. There's no way I'm breaking that carcass.
Yeah. You're beautiful.
And I just let him go.
Yeah.
And the ambulance men came in, and they were like, oh, and I says, don't do anything to him. I says, don't resuscitate him. Don't start doing any of your fucking magic shit on him.
Yeah.
I says, like, and I didn't speak anything untoward. I just don't do it. And they were like, he's gone. And I says, yeah. And then he took him that room, put him into his bed, and that's when I came to realization. My dad's gone. Gone from this body. That's not his body. And then it all just became more silent, and it was like, oh, it's like heavy, but okay heaviness.
Yeah.
Because in all of it, I had this center that I'm gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You know, I loved me dad. I loved me ma. I'm gonna mind me family. And it was right. You're always on social media, love or fear. You talk at an intellectual level. You left the holotropic world, the psychotherapy, because you are just all about love now. Let's see how loving you are.
Yeah.
And it was just on then. And it wasn't a performance. It was an actual. Now it's my way of living my life. No more fucking spoofing. No more cutting corners. You're only going to be guided by love now. Anything you do, that's going to be the fucking mantra. And yeah, it was an amazing experience. Amazing.
Yeah.
Like doing his eulogy.
Yeah, it seems like you spoke beautifully at his funeral. I'm just sensing that you because you said people responded to your eulogy in a way that seemed like it made an impact.
Yeah, like people come up and they said, like some people said, it was the best eulogy I've ever heard. And I even prepped the day before going into the church while women were in there praying and all. You know, if I'm going to do a good job.
Love that.
Like,
yeah.
You know, I practiced
you wanted to
walking
honor
up.
him.
I walking up on the altar, and I told everyone, that's not my dad, that's his body, that's a superhero. So he bounced a while ago, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and as I done stand-up comedy before, and I text the fella that helped me with a few gigs, and he said, how did the thing go? I said, I absolutely killed it. No pun intended, you know what I mean? But smashed it. But it was a fucking privilege.
Yeah.
I get to speak about this man that didn't just talk about love. He loved me, ma. He loved his ma. He showed me how to do it.
Yeah.
But I was too busy drinking and drugging to actually practice it. But that training was never lost on me. It never left. The way he spoke to me, ma, the way he spoke about his ma, the way he minded his ma, the way he treated us, the way he got me up for school every day, didn't lose the head with me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was wild. Like, it embedded in me at a cellular level, at a soul level. And that's the way I treat my kids. That's the way I treat my ma. That's the way I live my life.
Beautiful.
Now that
I get that from you, by the way. I really sense that deep love in you. You know, you have a very, like, it's not just like a kind heart, you know what I mean? But there's a depth in you that I feel from you. You know, I think that's why we connected the first time we met, you know, it's just like, so it's very apparent, you know, that you're living that way. You know,
Yeah.
you've definitely, I can see you've made a choice
Yeah.
somewhere along the line to go, this is how it's going to be. This is how I'm going to live.
22, 23. 23 was a point where I went, this is not going the way I wanted to go. It went well to this point. I need to now level it up. I was doing 12 years of counselling, psychotherapy. I was thinking about trying to be a psychotherapist. I was doing the holotropic, doing it with my pal Debs. She was a facilitator there. Absolutely love her to bits. She's an amazing being.
Could we dive into that, by the way, holotropic? I mean, or do you want to? We leave it out. It's just because, like, it's such an interesting topic for me because
psychotherapy and holotropic, put them in the same thing.
Yeah.
Not the same.
Yeah,
but that world.
In your life, they were kind of they were in the same container.
Because I worked in a hospital, I was part of the medical model.
Yeah.
You know, brain injury rehab. I worked with psychologists. I worked with clinical psychologists. I was in that whole model of being, and antidepressants and all these kind of things, and I was going to train in psychotherapy. I was thinking of doing holotropic. I'd done, like, I don't know, a good few journeys. I'd done, like, from 2019, 18, 19 to 22, 23, 22. I think I stopped. I can't remember. From probably 5 or 6 weekends, and I loved it. I love Debbie. I love the crew. I love my holotropic family.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the fact that I was involved in psychotherapy. I read all the Gabor Mate books.
Yeah, yeah.
All of the trauma work. The Body Holds the Score.
Yes, yeah.
Any fucking book I was immersed in. I spoke. Brian interviewed Brian Kenny. You know, I was crazy into it.
Yeah.
But I said to myself one day, lying in bed, crying my fucking eyes out after breaking up with this girl because all she wanted was sex.
Okay.
And I didn't want that anymore. And I was a sex fiend, you know. And I'm like, I'm like, why am I not changing? Why can I not hold down a relationship? Why do I still have these stuff with me, ma? I went to holotropic. I seen visuals, the childhood stuff. It all come up. Why am I still behaving this way? Why am I still speaking like this? Why am I still walking like this? Why can I not have a relationship with a girl?
Yeah.
Like, why are they all ending? Why am I burning down all of these buildings?
Yeah, yeah.
Why? Like, I wrote a book. I wrote a book on mental health. Like, my story, poems. I read poems. Why?
Yeah.
Why am I still masturbating? Why am I still watching porn?
Yeah. Why is nothing changing?
Why is nothing changed? Okay, I'm not a drug dealer anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking drinking anymore.
Yeah.
But inside, I ain't happy. I'm not happy. Like, if we go return on investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
My return on investment wasn't fucking weighing up.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know, like, and this is not a slight on the psychotherapy or the holotropic or the books, but, like, you've invested all of this.
Yeah.
You say to me you teach meditation,
but
your ex will text you and you're lit up like a Christmas tree. You've lost autonomy. Fucking. Oh man, what am I gonna do? I'm doing Reiki with people and my phone goes off and I'm watching my phone and I'm like, you're a fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
You're a lunatic.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Because, like, you know, this holotropic conversation, I think, is a really fruitful one, actually. Because I have other friends, and I know you do too. We've shared friends, and they've been so helpful to me in terms of, I suppose, welcome criticisms of the holotropic model, you know. And I don't feel like defending it in any way. I don't feel like any kind of ownership in it.
I don't like shiting on things or putting things down, because I truly believe it ain't a modality.
Yeah.
It's the energy that's been driven through things.
Yeah.
Like if you can be a psychotherapist and if your energy is clean and clear and
Yeah.
you live the life of a psychotherapist, that you don't have, you're smoking and you're drinking and you're porning and you're
Yes,
this.
yeah.
Okay, does the modality really work if you're behaving?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like the prism. It's like the light goes through that prism, and whatever prism it goes through will color what comes out. You know,
yeah.
in the refracted light. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
talking to a therapist and I was telling him about doing this thing, role playing and doing improv, and he went, "Oh, I'd never do that." And I went, "What?" And I says, "You're a therapist?" He goes, "Yeah, no, I can't do role play. I won't do it." So you're telling me you can't play? Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah.
You won't play? She goes, "I can't." I said, "No, that's a choice. That's a choice.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
choosing not to do that. But you're going to help people give up addictions.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
And you're going to teach them how to be peaceful. I can test your peace right now and ask you to let's play mammies and daddies.
Yeah, yeah,
And you
yeah.
lose your shit.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's bizarre.
I'm
'cause-
teaching meditation
Yeah.
and I can't fucking meditate. I can't sit down and teach this body how to be still.
Yeah.
I'm spoofing.
Yeah, you want to see. Yeah, it's kind of you want to see the fruits of the work in the people who are presenting it. At least I want to see that. You know, if somebody's like offering something. I mean, I suppose it's like if you go to a personal trainer and you're trying to have like a really muscly body or whatever, and you go to somebody who's like desperately overweight. You know, when you go to your first appointment, you would have a weird kind of like reaction to that, wouldn't you? I would, at least. You know, if you go to the personal trainer, you would like them to have the body you're aspiring to. You know what I mean? It's a bit like the same at any work you do, in a way.
If somebody has never been in a pool or has never had sex before and they're trying to teach you how to swim or have sex,
Yeah.
it's okay reading the books. If you don't know how to do that, I'm like, but you've never done it.
Yeah.
Like, what happens when I'm in there and
Yeah,
I start
yeah.
swallowing water?
Yeah.
Or if I get a fucking, the things don't work, what do I do? I don't know. That never happened to me. Let's check page 75.
Totally.
And that's not a knock on anyone. I don't like to knock anyone.
Yeah.
Mine was like, is this working?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this working? That's a
For
great
me.
question. Yeah,
For
for
me.
me.
For
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
How do I know that?
Is this working? I think that's one of the greatest questions we can ask.
Is it working for me? Is it working? How will you determine whether it's working or not? Well, I've always wanted love.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a relationship.
Yeah.
I've always wanted peace and harmony. Is any of
Yeah.
that happening for you right now?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Amazing.
Not really.
Amazing question to ask.
Why is that not working? Well, when I go to the therapist, all I talk about is my problems. This is not working. She said this. Me dad's dying, and me this. All you're talking about is problems. You go to holotropic. What's the thing you talk about the most? Well, my childhood stuff. That time that person touched me, and that comes up. I feel a little bit more. Express a little bit more. I've been doing that for a few times. No, you need to do a little bit more. Okay, but I still feel shit. And then we're talking about the childhood stuff, my ma stuff, and all stuff, and then we blend it all together. You seem to only ever talk about your problems and everything going wrong, and so maybe you need to try something different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I made a decision. I had a holotropic thing booked, and I sent him a message. Look, I'm going to put this on hold for a minute. I text my therapist, said, same thing. I'm going to put this on hold for a minute. I'm just going to try something different for a while.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to try fucking focus on love.
Wow. Okay.
And I was told.
And did this come from, like, just your own, like what I would call your inner healer? It was just like, this is just Matt's inner voice saying, I want to take a break from this, and I'm just going to focus on love. Like, you know, you didn't go and do a love course. Like, you weren't Googling, like, you know, this was just you honoring, like, what's actually, you're being guided from inside yourself, it sounds like. Is that right?
Absolutely. It was just, I had a stall down there in the Liberty Market.
Yeah.
With my daughter. I was going out with this beautiful looking girl, beautiful, and I would had some difficulties over the years with my looks and how I think, and not thinking I was the best looking bloke in the world. I was fat and I was ugly. And I'm going with this lovely girl, and all she wants to do is to have sex, and I wanted us to be in a relationship. And she was like, no, we're just hanging out. And I was like, we're hanging out for a long time, is that all we are? And she went, yeah. And I was devastated. I couldn't keep me shit together in the stall. I was going home, I was crying. My mate is a psychotherapist, my mate Toy Glooby, ringing me for hours. Like, oh, why is this? And he'd be talking me around. I'm like, what? This can't be right. Like, I'm doing all this work and I'm in here crying for days. Can't stay in the stall, I have to go home, I have to cry.
Just something not working. Very evidently
In
that.
me.
Yeah.
What am I? And I'm always like, what do I need to do different?
Yeah.
I don't care if you're like if you're this therapist or that thing. If this doesn't work, I'm like, I might have to change something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try something new because I'm obviously this is not working.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me.
And so in that moment, like where you went, all of this stuff I'm doing isn't working. You know, I want to try something new. But then you said, I'm just going to try love.
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
Like when I was in doing the holotropics, right? A lot of the times there'd be dark stuff, but I'd always seem to find something on the page to write love.
Yeah.
I'd do a love heart. I'd want love with me ma. I'd want it.
Yeah.
Like me even saying this now, I'm on fire here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is lighting up.
Wow.
And when I done holotropic, there used to be dark stuff, but I'd always try to find a heart.
Yeah.
And I'm like, am I just trying to put that there? Am I just trying to just wow this or fuck sparkles on a shite and call it a 99?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Is that what I'm doing? I'm trying to make a fucking soup horse out of a pig's ear.
Yeah.
But I was just like, no, there's just something inside me that keeps saying, no, love is the way, love is the way, love is the way. And I text the therapist, I text the people running the holotropic, says, love, I want to find this.
Yeah.
And they said to me, you need to breathe more.
Yeah.
Like,
Make it bigger.
And I just laugh.
Healing comes from an amplification of the symptom. Yeah, you see, because
I just decided I'm going to do something different.
Yeah.
Let me try this.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to knock that or knock them because those people are so good to me.
Yeah.
My therapist, she's the best relationship I've ever had. I stayed with her for 12 years.
Really?
Yeah, Maggie.
Yeah.
She was so
amazing.
cool. We used to have loads of knocks, you know, as in Argos back before. And I loved her. Like the holotropic, they loved me.
Yeah.
And I loved them.
Yeah.
So it always felt hard and that I was walking away from. I never want to talk bad about people.
Yes, of course. No, and you're not. I don't get that at all. It's like, and you see what I'm loving is, I agree with you, by the way. Like this idea of, you know, we become what we think about most of the time, you know, is really makes sense to me. And another guy I really like is Tony Robbins, you know, the success guru dude. I know he's probably not everyone's cup of tea, but there's a lot about that man I really admire, actually. I've gone to a number of workshops and he has a line that he says, like, you know, everything that is wrong is always available to you, but everything that is right is also available to you at the same time. And what you focus on is just a choice.
Yeah.
You know, it depends what you choose to see. You can focus on everything that's right now, and you're going to feel very differently. Yeah. You know, and you can just focus on what's wrong all the time. And so, you know, this idea of like trauma work, you know, that even is like erroneous to me, or it kind of feels like it's an innocent mistake, because for me, you know, what holotropic really is about opening those trapdoors to the vastness of the cosmic mystery. And so it really has nothing to do with trauma. You know, it's got nothing to do with healing your deepest wounds, even though Stan Groff wrote a book titled exactly that. But my experience with it is more like, you know, there is this incredible vastness to consciousness, and we can access all of that. We all have this innate ability. And so it's almost like, why just live at the tiny tip of the iceberg when you can actually open to like the vastness of all that is.
And I love the actual breathwork of holotropic, because I love breathwork as a modality, as a thing.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
So
it opens people.
good.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Yeah.
And so I've been in those trauma groups as well, where I've had these, but for me, it's nearly always these cosmic epiphanies and dissolution into love. So when I came back into the groups and people were working through their trauma, I feel it did help, because it lends a kind of a gravity or something to the group I wouldn't take away from anybody's experience. But I always felt like my own experiences they definitely didn't have that heaviness of trauma that's synonymous with holotropic. I'm the first to admit it is, you know, and it is a trauma release modality. But I personally, like, whenever I would be inviting someone to a workshop or to a breath work, it would just be about like an opportunity to open to the vastness within yourself come what may. And it could be trauma, but it could be also cosmic white light or anything in
course.
between, you know?
Here's the thing that what I like to remember. So we do holotropic, we do ayahuasca, we'll do whatever movie we're gonna go and see.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we realise, right, there's been some historical patterns. There's a let's say you're a tree and the roots are connected to the lower energy centers, which would be your ma, your
Yeah,
uncle, this.
yeah.
Okay. I showed you, but that's probably not going to be enough. We can look at it. Okay, what we're going to have to try to do to get you to ascend is untangle, unwind. How will I do that? Okay, so go into a relationship with a girl. All of a sudden, she does this. I feel this. Where did that come from? Okay, I can use this to undo this.
Yeah.
Unroot this.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm not gonna say it. Right, that's not good enough because I'm still thinking it. Don't think it. So don't say it. Don't think it. Don't feel it. Right. I'm not acting out there anymore. Okay, that's one. There's about 3 million of them to go. Fuck it. It's one anyway.
Yeah.
The next, when you go into the shop, you go down and have a conversation with your ma, you realise, okay, this does this, I do this. Call and response. Call and response. I'm not going to respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got the insight. Now I'm in training in Tesco or in me ma's or with that girl.
Yeah.
I do it with me ma. I do it with Brony.
Yeah.
I see from the movie of holotropic or the journeys I've been on. Right now, I'm going to use that
To do the work, kind
to
of.
do the work.
Yeah.
As Ramdas says, every day is your curriculum.
Yeah.
So in my life, I try to unwind these, to let go of the lead boots, so I can ascend.
I get you.
I can't ascend without descending to uncouple.
Yes. Yeah.
And I do that in practice because that's how it was laid into my system. With me ma, with me dad, it was imprinted in my system from generational stuff. Now I can undo it in the moment.
Yeah. In Tesco's, in a traffic jam, in
my relationship with Brown. And when Brown is like, why are you putting all that stuff in the washing machine like that? And she says it with a beautiful angelic voice, but I hear fucking rah rah rah. And I go, leave me alone, bro.
Yeah.
She ain't your ma.
Yeah.
When she says to me, we'll put all our clothes together and we wash them together. But I was told as a child that I'm scruffy and dirty, and if Brownie sees my dirty jock, she'll think I'm dirty. And I feel that coming up like a volcano. And I go, right, game on. Yeah, love, we'll do that together. I'm rewriting that pattern in my system. How did I know? Because I done it in holotropic. I seen me and my man have this relationship. I get to change it in the moment.
Yeah.
For me, this is where the magic comes.
Me too, by the way. Absolutely. You're speaking my philosophy of life there, you know. And so, what, like any of this work, whether you call it holotropic or mandala work, all of that is secondary. Just what you're saying there about a moment by moment yoga, basically, where every interaction you have is an opportunity to heal, an opportunity to grow.
1,000,000%.
Every moment, you know, and that's what it's about.
I was in my ma's a good few weeks ago, and there was stuff going on with our bathroom. I got the bathroom all done up. I didn't do it. I organised it, and then the system wasn't working. Toilet was coming up out of the oak, and she was losing her shit, like fear. And she started crying. She goes, oh, it's all bad. And I says, man, it's not that bad. I'm going to sort it.
Yeah.
And she was like, don't say that. And then all of a sudden, I seen the terror in her eyes. And then I felt the terror in mine. And I was like, right, I felt the volcano. And I just stopped. And I said, I ain't going to repeat this pattern. I says, ma, you're in fear. I've got stuff moving through me here. They're from the same family. I'm going to wait till this goes down and I'm going to come back to you. Oh, no, you're not talking to me. And I says, ma, that's not true.
Yeah.
Let me get back to you.
Yeah.
I love you unconditionally.
Yeah.
I left it for a few hours. I said, can we talk now? Is it okay so I can help you through this?
Yeah.
I'm an adult. I love you unconditionally. You're talking to me like a child. I says, no, your body is acting like it. But I'm going to help you with that though.
Yeah.
So I got to undo that stuff I seen in holotropic, that stuff I seen in other journeys in this moment. That undid it for me. That awareness helped me to see it right. I see where I'm entangled. I see the weeds I'm embedded in.
Yes, yeah.
And then now I get to actually change it.
Yeah.
And now me and my ma dissolved years of stuff in a moment.
Wow. Yeah, you see, you're helping me, Matt,
And
as
she
well.
came to the first breathwork with me. She came to a yoga class.
Yeah.
And she doesn't talk to people. She likes to be on her own. And I said, does anyone want to share their journey? My man goes, I do. And I goes, yeah, ma? She goes, I just felt love.
Wow.
My man's first breathwork was just love.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful.
Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, yeah.
For me, that's what I want to do. That.
There's something really valuable in the conversation around this piece of, you know, you're sharing with me this concept of like doing the work, doing the work, which I totally subscribe to as well. It's like we can only change by doing the work on ourselves, and that doesn't have to be in a retreat center. It doesn't have to be on a mat. It doesn't have to be, it can be like when the sirens are going off, or when you're in the shops, or you're having an argument with your loved one, that's where you do the work, there's a lovely technique that I've learned from holotropic called yoga of the cross, right? And it's a brilliant technique for doing this work in any moment of any day. So it's kind of like what you do is, when you get activated by something that's happened outside of yourself, right?
Down.
Yeah, you unhook it from the horizontal, they call it, right? So yoga to cross is just like horizontal and vertical, right? Have you heard of this? Are you familiar with it?
John's cross.
Yeah, is it so it's like you basically
bring it in and down.
Yeah, you say, okay, so like you basically take whatever it is in, and then you ask these two questions like, is this feeling familiar to me? And have I felt like this before? So it's kind of like, I look at like two wings of a glider or a bird or something. Is this feeling familiar to me? Have I felt like this before? So, and then you go inward and you go like, oh, I remember that time. And I remember that time. And it can be like a string of pearls, where it'll be like, is this familiar to me? Oh yes, it happened that time, and it happened that time, and it happened that time, and I remember it happened that time. And this is where your awareness now is going ding, 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 down this string of like, occurrences that have happened in your life, And it's unbelievable. So can I give you an example of one that happened to me in work? Like, it's kind of like a simple one where I did yoga of the cross, where I was like, I was in work, and there was this young kid had joined like one of our biggest customers, right? He's probably half my age, and he was really successful in activating me in a way that I couldn't understand why I was getting so upset with this kid, And so, I run an advertising business, and we generally have great relationships with all of our customers. It's a lovely atmosphere in the industry in general. People get on quite well. And this kid used to ring me up, and he would start the call with a long exhale and go, and I would almost like spin into a fit of rage, And so I was going, what is with this? And he'd say, like, there was a problem with one of their campaigns, maybe an ad that was meant to be on a screen wasn't on a screen, which is totally normal. These things happen. It's not usually something that would activate me. And so for a number of weeks, this guy sort of like really took it upon himself to ring me 3 or 4 times a day, the long exhale, the big complaint, and, the sort of the serious, heavyweight nature of the crime almost that I'd committed, And so I was really getting increasingly more rageful and more angry. It takes a lot for me to get rageful. So when I do get rageful, I normally understand it's like, oh, Geoff, this is usually something that isn't to do with the thing that's happening out here. It's normally something to do with something that's residual from earlier on in my life, And I've done this loads of times. And I remember I was in the office in Camden Street, and it happened again, and I just said, I'm going to have to do something on this. So I did yoga of the cross on it. So I took all of the feelings that this guy was generating from his long exhales and his complaints. I went inside, and I actually walked around the corner to a church. There's a gorgeous church on Stephen's Green, Newman Church, which I love going in there when it's empty. So I went in there and I did this like 25-minute yoga of the cross. And I was kind of exploring, like, what is it that's making me feel so angry towards this kid? Like, why am I like so rageful? Like, I could call around and scream and roar and shout, and it's not really my temperament at all to be like that, And so I said, is this feeling familiar to me? and like, have I felt like this before? And I remember when I was starting out in business as a very, very young kid, like I started this business when I was just out of college, like 18, and I had some very big customers, and we used to be involved in all kinds of industries, and there were some very big personas in the industry, you know. And I had one very challenging customer at the time, and he used to ring me up, and he would start the calls with a long exhale. He would go, you know, and I would contract and go, oh no, something's wrong, you know, because I was younger, I didn't have the skills I have now, you know. And he'd say, I am going to rip your head off, you know. And this was the tone of the call, you know, because my posters weren't here, my flyers weren't here. And I would tremble, like, I was really fear-inducing for me, you know.
Wow.
And this went on for a number of months, you know what I mean? A number of months where every day I would live in fear of these like long exhale calls coming in, right? Now, sitting there in that church doing yoga of the cross, and that insight came to me, I was like, oh my God, that's why I'm getting so rageful. So what happened in that moment was instantly a cord was severed between me and this young kid who's ringing me now today with the long exhales. It's like, I know it's got nothing to do with him. He's caught up inside. I don't know, he's maybe trying to make a name for himself.
Awareness helps you identify that.
Yeah, he's got his own gig going on, but like, I have nothing to do with his gig. And I was freed instantly from any hold he had on me. I was just like, oh my God. I was going, hello, how you doing? How's it going? Exhale all you want. And I was literally free. Like, so do you see how I'm kind of saying awareness itself is the healer?
Amazing.
So in that moment, it does work.
Of course.
You know what I mean? It's and then the other bit was, I thought I'd cleared that stuff from 25 years ago with the difficult customer. I thought that was gone. Oh, I'm over that. That's gone. I'm free of that. But actually, it was kind of like, no, you know what, Geoff? There is a little bit of residual unfinished business. Strangely, I didn't know that. I thought it was a cooked goose with that one.
And it came up in situ. It came up in practice.
Exactly, yeah.
It came up to be clean there.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
What would be more likely the case is I would just rinse, repeat on that young kid. And then the same cycle continues.
And blame him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the nemesis.
Yeah.
Stimulus caused the stimulation. No.
Exactly.
You are in charge of stimulation, not the stimulus.
Yeah.
Stimulus doesn't cause stimulation.
So that yoga to cross is an unbelievable technique. Like I think it's like the magnum opus of nearly everything that I've done, and I use it in every relationship I have, every interaction. I'm constantly going, is this feeling familiar to me? Have I felt like this before? Oh yeah. You know, it's like a magic wand.
You're like a fucking wizard. It's like sitting talking to a wizard. You talk about the priest being a wizard. Some of the words that you are fucking throwing out there, I'm like, I'm gonna have to Google them fucking things. Tommy said a word one time. What was it? Transmogrify. I was like, transmogrify? I need to Google that. Like, it's fucking
I don't know what transmogrify means.
Yeah, well,
I'd have to Google that too.
It's transmuting, changing something in a more magical kind of mystical way.
Okay, cool, great word.
Yeah, like alchemy, but this is transmogrify in a kind of a mystical, magical, spiritual.
Cool.
Transmogrify.
No better man than Tommy to be doing a bit of transmogrification.
He's a fucking wizard. You're a wizard. We're nearly coming up to 2 hours.
Yeah.
We haven't even touched sacred geometry.
I know, yeah. It's
will we pencil in a second day?
Yeah, absolutely. We could go deeper into the detail of how it works. But, you know, to be honest, like, this conversation is what's primary. You know, in a way, if you wanted to sort of meet me and sort of see what I'm about and what I do, it's all in this, really. You know, and in the geometry and the modality and all, I mean, it's really interesting. I'm super passionate about it. Yeah. And I'd love to talk to you again about it, you know, but I really enjoyed that we started here.
Yeah, I think this is a nice conversation. I done zero prep for this. That's exactly what was meant to happen. There was no sacred geometry spoken today much. the mandala
Yeah.
of life.
I have, by the way, if there is a shout out for it, like I do have a great website called
Please do.
sacredgeometryacademy.com,
Yeah.
and people can go there and there's like loads of free courses. There's a
Yeah.
really good course called Reality Atlas where I go through this kind of like worldview I have with my friend Scott Onstadt. So sacredgeometryacademy.com. And if you'd like to join me on Zoom for like a free meditation, I do them roughly every second Sunday, and you can get that at like mandalameditation.com. And there's an invite to come along, and I do this like really easy to do meditation with a group of people, and it's a really nice thing. So
Yeah, we done it myself and Brown. It was lovely.
yeah, did you like it?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
lovely.
yeah.
You have a lovely way about you. It's real soft and gentle, and it's appealing and inviting.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Thanks.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I get slagged off for being Gentle Geoff, you know.
Oh,
and
no,
then like
it's
when
lovely.
a lot of my friends come to the workshops, they say there's nothing gentle about him. You know what I mean? Because the depths they go to are like kind of like, you know,
Right.
it's like, oh, when you're ready in your own time, you know,
That's
maybe.
instilling safety.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When I
Exactly.
go into like the prisons I talk to or the other places, I go in and I play.
Yeah,
Because when you're playing, you can get really close to people.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
they don't notice it.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get real close, and then you're
Yeah.
on the bridge and you're holding their hand. And
Yeah.
they're like, how did that happen? Yeah, exactly. You catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
You do,
You know, a
totally.
softness, and that's not a manipulative kind of way.
Yeah.
It helps people feel safe.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That's what love does.
Like, yeah, love that, Matt. Yeah, what a great chat. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. Thanks. Yeah.
What's the one thing, I always ask people this at the end of an interview or a chat, what's the one thing you'd love people to take away after listening to this interview?
Yeah, well, like, actually, that's pretty easy. It's like this idea that the greatest resource any of us have is the fact that, you know, the person who knows what's best for you is you. And we all have this kind of innate gift that's been given to us, that we have this inner wisdom that is it comes from an inner source that you can journey towards simply by closing your eyes and journeying inward. And it's a source of wisdom that knows what's best for you, that knows where to guide you better than anything outside yourself. And it's a source of inner light that you can grow to trust. And so I really think that's the greatest gift any of us have. You know?
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Absolute
That was
legend.
cool. Yeah, loved it. Thanks a million.
So we'll wrap it up, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Geoff. That was incredible conversation. I thought we were going to get into the more sacred geometry, but that's just the way life goes. We can't predict what way conversation will go, and I love that. I love the openness, the fun, the exploration. Holotropic. There was nothing combative. We didn't, you know, I'm not about knocking modalities like this is right, that's wrong. Let's just have an honest, open conversation. What works? What works for me? What works for you?
Yeah.
Can I use some of that? Can you use some of my stuff? And then will that get you any further down the pitch? And if it does, deadly. If it doesn't, let it go.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
exactly.
Let love lead the way. So please share this with family or friends. Share this conversation. I'd really appreciate it. As always, I want to thank my sponsor, Noel Riley from Rudy and Media Graphics. He's my main man. He's been with me from day dot. I really appreciate him. If you need any graphic design done, there you go, guys. 100% professionalism. Thanks very much. Also to Shannon's Hope Line, doing great work in the Liberties with mental health, grassroots mental health and suicide prevention. Thanks to the crew here at the Liberties Community Project, giving me a gaff here. This is where I run me podcast and I do
Lovely,
my
by the
work.
way. It's a lovely space.
Yeah, it's cool,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
In the
absolutely.
basement of a church.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect, right? Perfect. If you'd like to know more about the work I do, the one-to-ones, the breathworks, if you think I can support you and help you in any way, check out my website, Magic Minds, or www.magicminds.ie, and you find all my stuff on social media. I'm a bit of a social media hoe. Have a fantastic day. Take care. Bye-bye.
I will run, I will climb, I will soar. I'm undefeated. Oh, jumping out of my skin, pull the cord. Yeah, I believe it. Oh, the past is everything we were. Don't make us who we are. So I'll dream until I make it real, and all I see is stars. Is dreams come alive, you're unstoppable. Take a shot, chase the sun, find the beautiful. We will glow in the dark, turning dust to gold, and we'll dream impossible. Possible. And we'll dream impossible. I will chase, I will reach, I will fly until I'm breaking out my cage like a bird in the night. I know I'm changing it into something big, better than before. And if it takes 1,000 lives, then it's worth fighting for. It's not until you fall that you fly. When your dreams come alive, you're unstoppable. Take a shot, chase the sun, find the beautiful. We will glow in the dark, turning dust to